Welcome everybody to the City of Joliet pre-council meeting. Today is Monday, March 17th, 2025. Happy St. Patrick's Day. We're here in the council chambers at 5:30. The Honorable Mayor Terry Darcy will be presiding this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Darcy.
Here.
Councilman Cardenas.
Here.
Councilman Clement.
Here.
Councilman Guerrero.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Quillman.
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Here.
First is a presentation on the Consolidated Plan 2025-2029 and Program Year 2025 Annual Action Plan.
Good evening. Thank you for having me today. I am presenting on the Community Opportunities Updates and Anticipated Timeline of the Community Development Block Grant. This is an overview of both the drafted Consolidated Plan of 2025 to 2029 and the Program Year 2025 Annual Action Plan. Jacqueline Lozada, I'm the CDBG Program Manager, and the consultant that is used for the consolidated plan is USONA Development. Just as a very general overview, the 5-year consolidated plan is a broader spectrum of the community's needs. It's currently being drafted for 2025 to 2029. It's showing the prioritized needs and objectives and actions based on the needs of the city. It creates a guided course for each individual annual action plan. So if the consolidated plan is our path for the next 5 years, each individual annual action plan is a stepping stone along that path. The annual action plan is currently being drafted for program year 2025, and it will be submitted along with the consolidated plan as part of one document submitted to HUD. The annual action plan will be a summary of actions, activities, resources, and approved projects and public services for the 2025 program year. It'll be a summary of the priority needs, goals, and objectives that will be met in that specific year. HUD uses both the consolidated plan and the annual action plan to hold us as a grantee accountable for our funding decisions and to solidify the choices that we've made for funding and how they meet the city's needs. The consolidated plan updates, we are in the midst of the outreach and the drafting led by USONA Development. We have held consultations with county, township, neighborhood council meetings, and local nonprofit agencies. We have hosted up to 30 by this week different consultations, and we urge any other community members, community neighborhood meetings, councils, and other nonprofits that want to be involved to reach out. We're happy to schedule one-on-one consultations and continue along through the drafting period. The public survey is available on our city's website in both English and Spanish. It is available as a banner currently on the homepage of the city's website, and we ask for all resident community engagement. It is a very short survey. It only takes a couple minutes, but it gathers a lot of important vital information for us in terms of the city's needs and priorities. Of the preliminary data that has been collected, the consolidated plan is an invitation to reprioritize our goals, which on a broad spectrum is to improve neighborhood infrastructure and facilities, to improve public services, the condition of housing stock, to eliminate blighted conditions, and to increase economic opportunities. This is a living document which will be drafted through June, and it will be continued through further community analysis and through further consultations. It will be continued to be updated along the way. For the 2025 year updates, the application cycle this year, we are implementing a few different upgrades this year, which we hope will make a very large, important impact. This year we are hosting an educational workshop event on March 26th, next week at 2 p.m. We hope that all of the local nonprofit agencies within the area are involved. For anybody that can't meet the workshop, we are sending out all of the materials to them afterward. We have digitized the application for the first time ever for the City of Joliet. Prior year feedback has given us that the prior year's applications have been very difficult and don't allow for a full scope of what they're applying for. They're limited in the number of characters. So IT has been amazing in digitizing the application for us this year, and I'm really excited for that. In addition to the application release and the funding opportunity being released, I am also recording a step-by-step walkthrough of the application process itself, which will be dispersed and distributed to our entire mailing list so they can get a step-by-step guide through the application process, and will hopefully answer a lot of questions or get them through a lot of barriers that they may have had difficulty navigating in the past. Along with that, during the entire application cycle, I will be hosting one-on-ones, technical assistance, and open office hours to make sure that I'm available for any additional questions that the recording or the workshop may not answer. Updates to the scoring and reviewing process. The rubric for this year has been updated from prior years. It was a 5-page rubric where some pages were relevant to the service that was being applied for and some pages weren't. So it was a very confusing process for some of the applicants to know exactly what it was that we were grading their application on. So some updated changes and solutions this year have been to consolidate the rubric to 1-page sheets for each service that is being applied for. So it's no longer confusing which of the 5 pages apply to their application. So the scoring rubric has been updated to a simple 1-page scoring. And it has also been updated to base the priority needs and the demonstrated financial capacity of the organization to a scale of the request that they're actually making. So we will not hold an organization that is requesting a $5,000 grant to the same financial capacity standards as an organization requesting a $200,000 grant. So we have scaled the priority of the need and funding amount to the actual request, and that the organization has the capacity for their specific request. A second change that was made to the scoring rubric is that priority basis has been given on the impact that the funding will have to the organizations itself, placing an emphasis on grassroots organizations, local organizations with limited sources of funding, so that they will have the opportunity to possibly be funded if they also meet the other eligibility and funding requirements. So those were 2 of the changes made on the rubric for this year. In addition to that, we have updated the reviewing and scoring process where each application will have a pre-review before the scoring to make sure that all of their documents are submitted and in order, and they will have the opportunity to submit any missing documents before the scoring process begins. And also for the first time this year, we will be bringing all of the applications that were submitted to committee and council to notify of the applications that have been received. So that way everybody is aware, and it's a very transparent process in terms of all of the agencies that have applied for funding and the eligibility requirements around why they may or may not have been selected for the year. The Program 2025 application cycle, just as a reminder, the services that are provided must meet at least one national objective to benefit low, moderate income persons or areas, meet an urgent need, or aid in the prevention or elimination of slum or blight. The eligible activities do include public service, which is capped at 15%, public facilities or capital improvements, micro enterprise, infrastructure, and CDBG admin, which is capped at 20%. The estimated allocation for this year has already been passed through Congress, that the allocation amounts are the same as last year. So we are anticipating the same as last year's cycle of $919,000. The full formulas and appropriations will be announced within 60 days. As an additional reminder, the public services that are eligible are services that are provided to low to moderate income residents or households. So a household of 3 can make up to $80,000 and still qualify for our public needs services. Households of 5 can make up to $96,000. So we really do want to make the community aware that it is low to moderate income. You don't need to be, below a poverty line, and these annual income guidelines do change annually by HUD. Additionally, any public facilities that are providing services within the area must either fall within a low to moderate income area or serve the qualifying population. Anticipated timeline for both the consolidated plan as well as the annual action plan is drafted. The March 26th networking event will be hosted next week, bringing us to the March 31st notice of funding opportunity and the opening of the application cycle. The cycle will be open for 4 weeks and will close on April 28th. That will be the last day that we accept applications. The reviewing and scoring process will run from April 29th to May 9th. And that will again be the process where not only does staff score and review, but the applications as a whole are brought to the committee level to get a full evaluation of why agencies may or may not have met eligibility factors. Mid to late May, we are projecting that the project selection and draft of the consolidated plan and annual action plan is presented to committee and council. And the draft will be posted for a 30-day public comment period and public hearing afterward, and anticipating a submission to HUD by July. On this timeline, this does put us 3 weeks ahead of HUD's deadline for this submission. So if anything does need to be delayed or moved around as needed, we still do have room for that. Thank you so much. And this is our flyer for the nonprofit workshop for next week. Thank you. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Is that okay? Can someone get paper copies of this so if they want to bring it to the neighborhood councils?
Absolutely.
I know Jan wants some.
I'd like some as well.
Absolutely,
you.
I'm happy to get some printed.
Mayor? So with the money staying the same as it's been anticipated, it's also my understanding that we had more groups applying than we had money for. With the outreach that you're speaking of here, which is going to be much bigger, which appears to me, than we had in the past, do you have a different idea on how the groups are going to be funded? Do any of the groups that had been funded in the past get priority, or the funding amount that they had asked for before is something that they may have cut in half? Are you trying to get more groups to get some funding, or what's your thought process?
So with the allocations that is granted to the city of Joliet, we are anticipating a similar amount to last year. For this year, between the scoring rubric and the changes made there, prioritizing grassroots organizations, that's one change that we're hoping will give leverage points to possibly smaller organizations that haven't been funded in the past. Additionally, historically, a lot more admin has been allocated and set aside as a reserve. And this year, if possible, I would like to fund the full 15% public service cap to make sure that as much of the funding that's available can go towards the projects that are being applied for.
Thank you.
You mentioned that we had a 5-year, so the 5-year plan, or is that 2025 already counted into where we're trying to redo the 5-year plan?
Right, so our program years for CDBG run from October to September. So the program year 2025 won't actually begin until October 1st of this year.
Gotcha.
So the consolidated plan that's being drafted will be from October 1st of 2025 to September 30th of 2029.
And will there be separate meetings that we're going to be involved in, or others to try to figure what the next 5 years are going to look like for CDBG?
So right now, through the consultations, again through township and county government. We can do also a consultation for city council, but we do have the burden is mostly on the community and their input, but an absolute, there's, council can also reprioritize those goals as needed.
Thank you.
Mayor, following up on something Caesar started to touch on, the consolidated plan is new to us. Is this something HUD is requiring, or is this something that we've decided that a better direction, easier way to go?
Sure, so the 5-year consolidated plan has always been required by HUD. I'm not sure whether or not there's ever been committee or council involvement in the draft or in the awareness of it, but in order to receive funding, HUD requires a 5-year consolidated plan every 5 years.
I probably forgot we had it.
It's been a while since the last one. Any additional questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Jackie. Good job.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I do have a quick question. If available, if neighborhood organizations would want her to come and explain this, could we set that up?
Yeah, she's been going to neighborhood events already, but I'm sure if there's another one that'd like to invite her, she'd be happy to attend. Is that right, Jackie?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, if you could just send me your email, I'd appreciate it, and your phone number. Okay, thank you. I should have asked when you were up here, sorry.
Next is citizens to be heard on agenda items. Is there anyone who would like to speak under citizens to be heard on agenda items? Is there anyone?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, my name is Maria Leichen. I am next to the neighborhood. You met me before. And I just want to show you a map. Can I go and show you the...
Which item are you speaking on?
It's about the new subdivision that's proposed.
It's the owner of...
Hold on. Okay, hold on. Hold on 1 second. We're just gonna, yeah, it's about Fair Landing. We're just gonna excuse the mayor.
The owner that we are reporting right now, that's how he bought it, with that line of trees. And he's suing me and I'm suing him for that first possession. I've been occupying this for 35 years. Those trees are 35 years old. And somehow I cannot get anywhere to find out what kind of setback will be from my property. Because if that was the end of my yard, I wouldn't care, the back of the yard. But that goes along the whole side. At this point, those trees are blocking the disco from the dealership. Light, noise at night, I don't care about that. I just want to save my trees. That's all it is. So does few of my neighbors that if they sitting in their family room, bedrooms, the back house, would see the dealership light up whenever, however, which we don't care about that. We just want those trees to be safe. And I'm spending my money on the adverse possession. I went through, I can say hell, because my lawyer knows the other lawyer, so he told me it's gonna cost me a fortune, I should drop the case. That was my lawyer. And I didn't wanna agree to dropping the case, so now he's dropping me. But I will still look for a new lawyer, because I'm gonna go after the adverse possession. 35 years, nobody pay attention. Those beautiful trees, they were growing. I can bring the pictures of the whole line, the oaks, pines, whatever. 2 of us would have to go around those trees. They tried to scare me. They came and put those blue tags, which when I called the city told me it's, those blue tags means it's for removal. Somebody else is telling me not for the removal. So maybe this is the perfect time with so many of you that I can get the answer. What was the blue text? City told me when I called, it's for removal. The other side is telling me it's just marking the trees. My lawyer told me to drop the case. What is going on?
I think her main concern is that tree line, if there's any way that can be saved, because it kind of serves as a barrier. And also as far as setbacks, because there's supposed to be a retention pond there, and I think a park, from what I just learned. So she also would like to know as far as what are the required setbacks and stuff, and the trees. You know, those are really her concerns.
Okay.
We can get some of the answers, a representative of the developers here. Do we do, since the mayor's absent, do we do it now, or do we ask the ladies to wait till we get to that item?
We can do it now if the
Because on the
petitioner would like to
previous-
make a statement.
On the previous pictures, I had that was gonna be retention pond next to the whole side of my property. Today, we just heard that I'm gonna have a park next to my house. It's confusing.
Ma'am, if the developer's here,
Yes.
Yes.
yeah, if you want to make a comment? Thank you.
Please let him speak now. Your 4 minutes is up.
Hi, good evening, members of the council. My name is Steve Bauer. I'm an attorney and entitlements manager with D.R. Horton Inc. Midwest, which is the contract purchaser of the Prairie Landing property that Ms. Mike was just referring to. Just to, I guess, clear the air, all of what Ms. Mike is identifying pertains to a dispute between the existing property owner, which is not D.R. Horton, not the applicant, and Ms. Leck. It pertains to what she characterized and what is legally known as being adverse possession, where she has, and obviously I don't want to speak for her, but the gist of it is that she has some structures that were installed on the Prairie Landing property some time ago without the knowledge of D.R. Horton, and there's a dispute between the current property owner and her as to the ownership of that land area. That land area has been excluded, wholly excluded from the proposal that's before you tonight for Prairie Landing. So in the event that Prairie Landing is approved, that doesn't impact the land area that she's litigating as to ownership, as I
That
said.
litigation continues with the person who you bought, or the entity you bought the rest of the land from. But you don't get that portion because they're litigating.
Correct.
Okay. Ma'am, did you hear that?
Yes, so I
Do you
might
mind
show
if
you another map.
Well, we can wait until he brings it
Because
up.
they excluded this, but that's the end of my house.
Right, ma'am, with all respect, that's not pertaining to what we're doing here.
Yeah, but that's what I'm going for, is the trees all the way next to my house. I'd be
We-
happy, my neighbors will.
We understand, we understand.
But what he had explained is that decision isn't up to the new developer. They don't own that piece.
I know.
Okay.
I know,
But-
and I am all for this
Yeah,
project.
you just want to let us know what's happening.
She wants to keep her
This is
trees for
important.
privacy, and I can't blame her one bit.
And that's going to
I
court.
don't know how it
Yeah.
works, because long as I have my trees, you can do whatever you want. I don't care about it, but I wanna know where is city on the trees. Can somebody answer that? How is city?
Well, and this is on me, because it's
Does
in my.
the city
it's-
do anything
Ma'am, it's in my
about
district, so I kind of asked the indulgence of the rest of the council, but I don't want this to go on too much longer. I can tell you, and the attorney can weigh in, we can't tell people unless they're breaking an ordinance what to do. We can't tell you what to plant in your yard. That's why apparently you're going to court. You have two private owners. The owner who, not the developer, but the owner and you have a disagreement over that little swath, and there's nothing the city can do about that.
but why nobody wants to tell me how far they gonna step away from my property? I wanna find out. I've been in a city twice or 3 times. I've been told that there was no plans, none of them. And actually, I've got the plans from this gentleman. And city was denying that they have this plan. That was at least some kind of an idea.
Ma'am, here's what we'll do. Beth,
Yes, sir.
who can she sit with after the meeting or?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Okay,
So
she's gonna get you lined up with somebody, that's the city manager. She's the big boss of everybody in the city.
Okay.
She's gonna line you up with somebody from, she's talking to the the community development director right now, and they're gonna figure out who you can sit with and
Yeah,
go over
because
this.
I need to find out
Well,
what are
She's
the
finding that
rules.
out, she's finding that out right now.
Because there must be a rule.
Okay.
Thank you.
Maybe that's a city without rules.
And I would like it if we could help her keep her trees at least, if we approach them and talk about. the
Because I don't have any issues with those people who wants to build.
Right.
It's about time.
Beth,
Yes.
who can she sit with, or should she call your office?
You can call my office or meet at the meeting, the gentleman who's raising his hand, that's Dustin Anderson, and he's our,
No, I want to call when we finish, talk when we finish.
he can sit with you. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Madam Clerk.
Thank you, everybody, for indulging.
Okay.
Constituent.
If we could save her trees, that'd be a huge win. I mean, I know about privacy and when things are torn down and then all of a sudden you're in the spotlight, you can't even enjoy your home anymore. So if we could do something that way, it would be great to help her out.
It also aids in air quality.
Yeah, we're-
Yeah.
okay. Is there anyone else who would like to speak under citizens to be heard on agenda items? Okay, seeing none. Next, we will have the city manager review tomorrow night's actionable items.
So tomorrow we'll hear from the Diversity and Community Relations Committee, the Finance Committee, and the Public Service Committee. I know Public Service just met, so I'm going to kind of fly through those because there's quite a few of them. So please just stop me anywhere you need to. You had a long agenda, Councilman Hug.
And let me preface for you.
Yeah.
Everything on that agenda, there was no dissent. It was unanimously approved and sent forward to this council with committee recommendation to approve. So.
Great. Okay. Perfect. So we'll get you out of here on St. Patrick's Day as quick as we can. Council Memo 18425, award of contract for the 2025 Public Works Landscape Restoration Program to Allied Landscaping Corporation in the amount of $50,201. Council Memo 18525, award of contract for the Lois Place Lift Station Rehabilitation Project to Aries Inc. in the amount of $949,849, and amendment number 1 for construction engineering services to Trotter and Associates in the amount of $94,950. Council Memo 18625, award of contract for the 2025 traffic signal materials purchase order number 1 to Traffic Control Corporation in the amount of $228,214. Council Memo 18725, award of contract for the 2025 traffic signal materials purchase order number 2 to Traffic Control Corporation in the amount of $72,735. Council Memo 18825, award of contract extension for the 2023 to 2027 landscape maintenance service utilities program to Ramiro Guzman Landscaping in the amount of $133,877.71. Council Memo 18925, award of contract for the 2025 pavement marking program to Superior Road Striping in the amount of $286,532. Council Memo 19025, award of professional services agreement for the purchase and installation of the audio system upgrade project at Joliet Slammer Stadium to Vizwa in the amount of $161,770.97. Council Memo 19125, award of professional services agreement for the purchase and installation of the structural painting project at Joliet Slammer Stadium to Cosgrove Construction in the amount of $277,250. Council Memo 19225, award professional services agreement for the purchase and installation of 4 7.5-ton rooftop units for Union Station to Anchor Mechanical in the amount of $77,996. Council Memo 193-250, award professional services agreement for the purchase and installation of the elevator modernization project at Union Station to American Hoist and Manlift, Inc. in the amount of $101,385. Council Memo 19425, professional services agreement for safety consulting services to Sheffield Safety and Loss Control, LLC, in the amount of $485,675. Council Memo 19525, professional services agreement for the meter asset management program to Core and Main LP in the amount of $469,727. Council Memo 19625, purchase of ISCO flow metering equipment from Gazvoda and Associates in the amount of $46,384. Council Memo 19725, purchase of a tactical combat casualty care simulator from North American Rescue in the amount of $28,781.04. Council Memo 19825, amendment number 2 for the Phase 1 engineering services for the Theodore Street over Rock Run Creek improvement project to Chorba Group, a deduction in the amount of $13,309.56, and payment request number 20 and final in the amount of $2,939.09. Council Memo 19925, change order number 1 for the Spring Creek Phase 1 water main improvement project to Austin Tyler Construction in the amount of $153,675.21. Council Memo 225, change order number 2 for the Collins Street water main improvement project to Austin Tyler Construction for a decreased amount of $523,574.56, and pay estimate number 8 and final in the amount of $1,024,211.90. Council Memo 20125, electric supply auction and authorization to select the low bidder for electricity costs. Moving on to agenda items. Council Memo 20325, award of contract for Heggie Park Phase 1 water main improvement project to PT Farrow Construction in the amount of $7,895,977.38. Council Memo 20425, amendment number 1 to the professional services agreement for the 2026 water main rehabilitation program for detailed design services to Baxter and Woodman, Inc. in the amount of $1,292,000.
And that, just so people don't get shocked on the $1.9 million for engineering, that's
Yeah.
estimated $60.5 million project.
Yeah.
Total, just to point that out.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Chairman Hug. Council Memo 20525, authorization to fund pre-development loan draw 11 to Riverwalk Homes LLC in the amount of $598,665.91. This is for architectural fees. Moving on to licenses and permit applications, we will be removing Council Memo 20725, resolution to deny transfer of Class B liquor license at 926 Gardner Street. Tony Bar and Grill, which is now, I believe, Eden. We will be removing that from the agenda tomorrow. Council Memo 20925, public hearing for the substantial amendment to program year 2024 annual action plan, CDBG, that we just heard from Jackie Lozada. Ordinances and resolutions, ordinances, Council Memo 21125, ordinances associated with Prairie Landing subdivision.
Can we, in case we have any questions, and I wanted to point some things out, bring them up here, the developer's representative. He's right there. Is that okay? Sorry. Yeah. Just, I want to tell people some overview on it.
So the mayor just has to excuse himself out of an abundance of caution when we discuss this matter at all.
No, I understand.
Just wanted the public to know.
What I will tell people, this is a project in my district for the council members here. I'm in full support of this project. They have been very agreeable. They've worked with the residents. In fact, there's even a flooding problem that comes from the other farm field that's not developed, it's unincorporated right now. And it's not their fault, not their problem, but they're going to do something to mitigate it. Am I correct in saying that? They're going to solve that. If you want to explain that briefly, you know, you and I had talked about that. And so they're going above and beyond. They're not, it has nothing to do with the project, but they're trying to be good neighbors.
Thank you, Councilman Hug. So to elaborate, first and foremost, the answer to his question is yes. We have agreed to provide some additional stormwater management infrastructure that is actually off-site and intended to address an existing stormwater management concern impacting the Picardy subdivision residents. Actually, in anticipation of this meeting, I was reviewing various file materials, including some public comments received prior to the December 19th Plan Commission meeting, and I thought that you might appreciate understanding this or being aware of this to understand more fully the gravity of the drainage concerns that Picardy currently experiences today, which again has no impact on Prairie Landing, and Prairie Landing will not exacerbate. So this is from a woman named Sharon Mayer. She says, I've been a resident of Picardy subdivision in Joliet for the past 35 years. Drainage of this area has always been a problem in our subdivision since I've lived here. So she's saying for 34 years, there's been a problem with Picardy. What we're proposing to do is install some off-site stormwater management infrastructure that's basically at the eastern terminus of Vimy Ridge Drive on an unincorporated piece of property, generally known as a Heron Farm parcel. It, in simple terms, involves about 210 linear feet of reinforced concrete pipe that will send water, capture water coming out of this approximately 40-acre watershed from the farm field, stop it from continuing to enter west and inundating the Picardy property, and instead channel it via stormwater management pipe south and then through the Prairie Landing subdivision. That's the proposal before you this evening.
And also too, currently, without coming to us, any owner, including the current developer, is zoned for, I would say, roughly 80% single family, and the rest is multifamily, could be apartments as well as commercial, which wouldn't make sense buried way behind the other commercials along Essington. What they're asking us to do is turn it all into single family. They're not asking for any variations on the frontages. The homes are going to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, let's just say start at 400,000 and maybe average 2,000 square feet, two-story homes. Am I correct?
Correct is the first part. The range of size will be 2,051 square feet up to 2,600 square feet.
And they're all two stories?
All 2 stories, all 2-car attached garage, all 4 or 5 bedrooms, all 2.5 baths.
And they meet our current ordinance on acreage necessary for each unit?
Correct. Each of the proposed lots will fully conform with the applicable R2 district regulations, which, by the way, R2 is the same zoning classification as Picardy to the north, Warwick to the south, and Wexford to the west.
So I wanted to bring that forward, and yes, I'm in full support of this in my district. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, can I say something?
No. Not with the mayor in the room, I don't think, right? You can't have a resolution for this? Okay.
Or this is, yeah, also not an appropriate time, but we'll let her go.
Okay.
Can I? I live in Picardy subdivision since 1990, right before tornado. And believe me, I don't know what this woman, she was sitting here, she's the biggest gossip in our neighborhood, what she was talking about that we have a problem with the water. If you look the map, I am in the lowest area, end of Gulfview Drive, is the lowest point in my whole neighborhood. And I only had once water when we didn't have electricity for 7 hours. And I have proof for that because I had the claim for my basement that was otherwise I should be floating by my house if all the streets goes to my way. So I just don't understand what this woman was talking about.
Okay. Well, and any additional infrastructure can only make things even better. Even if they're not that bad now, it's only getting better.
Yeah, but,
So-
you know, what is not true, it's not true. How can that street fly if my street doesn't have a water, which is much lower, and that street goes to my street? To me, everything should be truth and right on the record.
Thank you. Oh, I have one more quote. No.
Denied. Council Memo 21225, ordinances associated with Rock Run Crossings Lot 1 re-subdivision. Council Memo 21325, ordinance repealing designation of Whitney Terrace subdivision as a local historic district.
Okay, I want to discuss that, okay? So, save time for tomorrow. This is a denial of what the commission came up with. They're denying the folks' request to get out of the local historic district, is that correct?
Yes, they would like to be removed from the
Yes.
historic district.
And the way I was reading is a little confusing when I was reading the whole memo.
Okay.
So I've been getting a lot of calls on it. And so, is it coming before us to deny their request, or is it coming to us to deny the commission's answer? Because I was reading the whole thing.
Well, the commission, it's advisory, so you can take it into account for your vote if you'd like, but don't have to.
Okay.
Where are we here? Historic
213.
213. Is Jane here, Dustin? Are you want to speak to this?
So the ordinance as presented, Councilor Quammen, is presented to de-designate. So if you were to motion tomorrow to approve, you would be motioning to de-designate.
Okay. That's where I was confused, because there's a lot of different verbiage in there. And it's our precedent's already been set. And I just want to say for the record, okay, because I was part of this before with our district. It's not that we don't want to preserve historic homes, but the parameters and the rules and regulations that were put in place were not exactly what were told to us when we wanted to have local designation, historic. We were told anything from the front had to look the same, but you could use different materials as long as it looked the same. And now things had changed, because our neighborhood fought this. It's too expensive today to make it original. You can't get the craftsmanship. There's no one that does these things anymore. You can't pay for the exact wood or the thin glass windows and carving of woodwork and just et cetera, just to give you an example like that. We'd love to keep it, but you just can't afford it, and again, you can't find the craftsmen to replicate that. It's just very too expensive. So what we did, we were able to win that district de-designation in the block of the cathedral area. And the same with these folks in this little cul-de-sac where the 7 homes are, 7 or 8 I believe. They want to restore it to the way it looks, but it might have to be different materials. And because it's so strict, they have to go for the de-designation in order to keep their homes. Otherwise, you just can't afford it. It's outreached our scope of being able to pay for things anymore. So I just wanted to make that clear, that I agree with them, and precedent has been set. So.
Yeah, and to just clarify from your question earlier, this is an ordinance that would repeal the designation, the historic designation.
That's what I wanted to make sure.
So
I read
that's,
that and read it, so
yeah,
thank you.
you're welcome.
Make it clear to everyone.
Can I say something?
This is not the time for, but why not? Tonight, everybody's talking whenever they want, so let's keep doing it.
I live at 416 Whitney. That's exactly where you're talking about. And she's right, that it's incumbent upon the homeowners. It's just become too expensive to maintain this stuff. So it's not that no one wants to upkeep their homes, that's not the case at all. I've lived there almost 40 years. So it just is, it's getting too expensive, and no one even considers that. I mean, it'd be great if there were grants available to help people out, if there were materials available that we could consider and that sort of thing. None of that's made available to us through the commission. I'm on the commission, so I understand this. So anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say about that.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, moving on, Council Member 21425, ordinance authorizing an amendment to the annual budget of the City of Joliet for the 2025 fiscal year, 2024 projects funded in 2025. So this is just unspent money that we have from last year that will move from 2024 to 2025.
Question, yeah.
Yes.
Are these also, some of them, are all of them, are they unfinished projects that we're gonna complete this year?
I will have to defer to Kevin on that, but yes.
Yes, they are all finished projects. There's no new money here,
Yes, I am.
or no new projects.
So we're gonna finish up projects from 24 and 25?
Yes.
Correct.
Exactly. Mhm. No new money.
Yeah, you can.
Council Memo 21525, ordinance authorizing the City of Joliet to borrow funds from the Public Water Supply Loan Program for Joliet water system improvements required for implementation of the Alternative Water Source Program. This is a debt authorizing ordinance. Resolutions. Council Memo 21725, resolution accepting the $1.9 million legislative pass-through from the state of Illinois to fund the Community Mental Health Program. This will be ThriveWorks for the entire county, so it will save the city $200,000. Council Memo 21820, and I believe Natalie Manley was able to secure these funds for the fire department. Is that right, Chief? Was there anybody else?
Yeah, Natalie was the one who headed it up.
So thank you to Leader Manley. Council Memo 21825, a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of an agreement for the lease of a city-owned parcel at the southeast corner of I-55 and Caton Farm Road for farming. This is the Hey Hot Dog location. Council Memo 21925, resolution granting easements to the Illinois Department of Transportation for the I-80 from Ridge Road to US Route 30 improvement project. So this is all about the reconstruction of I-80 and us granting easements. Council Memo 22025, resolution granting easements to the Illinois Department of Transportation for the I-80 bridge over the Des Plaines River replacement project. Council Memo 22125, resolution property acquisition from Larkin Professional Center LLC for the Lowest Place Lift Station Rehabilitation Project in the amount of $22,500. Council Memo 22225, resolution appropriating motor fuel tax funds for the 2025 pavement marking program. This is just one of the housekeeping items that we have from the item on the consent agenda. Council Memo 22325. Sorry? Oh, sorry, I thought you needed to correct me. Council Memo 22325, resolution accepting Illinois Environmental Protection Agency low interest loan for the 2025 water main replacement program. Very, very low interest loans that will really help the city. Council Memo 22520. Wait, did I do Council Memo 224?
It looks double, no, it's two different loans.
22425, accepting Illinois IEPA agency low interest loan for the 2025 lead water service line replacement program. This is a 0% loan for a 30-year term, so we'll take that. Council Memo 22525, resolution declaring certain City of Joliet property as surplus. And that concludes the agenda.
Mayor? Just, and the low interest loan that the city manager alluded to for the lead water service, the majority of that, except for some pennies at the end, is forgivable.
Yes,
So.
it is.
Wanted to make that clear. It's not only zero interest, we don't have to pay it back. It becomes a grant if we use it for flooding replacement.
Exactly. Thank you
Thank you.
for that clarification.
Next, we have public comments. Is there anyone else who would like to address the council this evening? Okay,
Come on up.
come on up.
Hello, my name is Mary Simeone. I am a resident in Peggerty subdivision. Unfortunately, I just missed the agenda item that you guys discussed. For
Hold on one second.
Mayor,
The mayor has to, sorry, just one moment.
So, I have been in contact with the planning division, with Helen Miller and Sean Negros about concerns that we have specifically at the end of Viney Ridge and Jordan Drive, which is a dead end. We have been inundated with flooding down there for years. I've been there 24 years now. I have sent pictures of my basement that has been flooded 2 to 3 times at the tune of $30,000. My understanding is that D.R. Horton is trying to work with the Heron family that supposedly still owns the farmland at the east end of Viney Ridge. And I've done some research myself. I'm not exactly sure. I see that Alice Heron is about 105 years old and lives in Salt Lake City. I don't know if this is something that's going to happen, but the fact that they were willing to try to tie some sort of sewer system into the end of the road to alleviate our flooding issues is great, but what if that doesn't happen? Is there a contingency plan? And furthermore, I live directly across from what is the only little retention pond. So I talked with Sean today. If you look at the aerial views, Peggerty subdivision runs from north to south. I'm at the very southern end, and then there's a retention pond, and then all those areas that are behind ours. I had been asking for years because I kept seeing flags planted back there. I called the city, everybody said there was nothing going on. And then, of course, 2 weeks before Christmas, we get sort of smacked in the face that the subdivision is coming in. So I still would like to have conversations with not only the developer about what the plan would be, because I believe that originally they were going to build back there years ago, and then the county kind of crashed in 08 and it didn't happen. But they were supposed to berm it. To me, it seems like a berm would help, but I would just like to really know what that plan is. And we have been asking also, we have so much wildlife down there. I've been there 24 years, that's why I bought down there. It's quiet, it's peaceful. If they're gonna break ground in April, we're gonna be inundated with dust and dirt. We won't be able to have our windows open. We wanna know what the plans are for eliminating dust and dirt and stuff. And we have people that just build pools back there. We're gonna lose our wildlife. So it's not just, I mean, flooding is huge, but it's a lot more than that. So I would just like to know who we can talk to really know what the final plan is on this. And I know, Larry, you are our councilman, so.
Yeah, and the gentleman, he's here tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried to talk to them the first time we came through, but everything was still very new, and I would just like to, Sean told me to talk with Greg Ruddy because he was the director, so I guess I would just like to know what are those plans to try to alleviate our concerns about that flooding issue. And I know that property did get sold in 2010. That house was built in 1917. It's still standing on Caden Farm Road. So as long as that P.O. box is in Joliet, that land is, even though it's unincorporated Will County, is probably gonna get brought into Joliet. So who really owns it, who are they talking to, what's really gonna happen? Because we're coming up on rainy season and I have really, really grave concerns. I was hoping to sell in a couple of years and now all this is happening, so.
So your question is for them, is if the owners, whoever they are, the owners of the other unincorporated property
Correct.
don't cooperate with the developer, then there's nothing they can do. You know, you wanna know, Greg, what will the city do in that case? Is that what I'm getting?
Is there a contingency
Right,
plan?
and I believe, Greg, you can talk to her after the meeting, yes? Sure. My understanding is.
Or just make sure that you get your number to the deputy city clerk, Pauline, right there. She'll get your number and we'll have someone follow up with you tomorrow. And then we'll make sure that you're looped into any conversations
or
or
Can you
have.
just briefly talk to her outside after the meeting?
Yeah, that would be great.
Both Greg and
I apologize, we got here a little bit late, I just
Right, and the
missed it,
developer
so.
was here too, Beth.
Right.
So, Greg.
Yeah, yeah.
A quick conversation would be great.
Can you guys do that with her?
Sure. And who's Greg? All right, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Beth.
Hmm?
Is there anyone else who would like to address the council this evening? Okay. Seeing none, I did receive a request for closed session. Is there a motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel, collective bargaining, land acquisition or conveyance, pending or threatened litigation, after which the meeting will adjourn?
So moved. Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Quillman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon? Mayor Darcy?
Mary, okay.